TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, and even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us.
You're listening to the PRO Media Network. The next level in entertainment.
On the PRO Media Network.
What's going on, fam? Welcome to another installment of Ring Kings Boxing. We're in the building. Much love to all the fight family members out there in the Ring Kings boxing world, in the entire nation, the entire world. We're coming at you guys with this installment of Ring Kings Boxing. We're going to talk about some Tank Davis. We're going to talk about a few other things. What direction is Tank Davis moving in after this knockout win, 11-round knockout win over Barrios? Going to play a little bit of Tank and his thoughts on what's it's looking like moving ahead. Also, other news dealing with Canelo Alvarez, the Pacman Pacquiao as well, Regis Prograis, and the potential set going up against Mikey Garcia, and other fight news as well. I'm Big Q chiming in on this installment of Ring Kings Boxing, and I'm gonna bring in my co-host Eddie Too Mean Johnson. What's going on, Too Mean?
Yeah, what's happening, man?
Doing good, my brother. This one, man, after a fantastic fight. Really enjoyed the Tank Davis dispatchment of Barrios, who hits like a sumbitch, but Tank Davis hits just a little bit harder, had more in the tank, had more skill. Barrios could not compete. He made it a hell of a fight, got all the respect in the world. He's a tough-ass fighter, but there's another level to Tank as he gets Barrios out of there, and it took him 11 rounds to get him out of there. And before we chime in on that, and let's listen to what Tank had to say and about his prospects moving ahead to the upcoming matchup, because I know we got a lot to talk about. Let's get it on. Here's Tank Davis.
Yeah, what did Barrios do anything early on to surprise you?
No, it was basically me just trying to figure him out and see what he do good. You know, that's what I was doing. I was basically trying to figure him out. You know, so I didn't want to overdo it and wind up getting caught because I didn't know what he was bringing to the table. So that's basically I didn't get him out of there because of myself early. You know, so that's basically what it was. If I knew he was soft, I would have got him out of there.
And you said in the ring after that you don't necessarily know what you want next, that you're going to rely on your team. Is there any inkling of anything at all of where you'd like to either fight next as far as 130, 135? Anything at all?
His team going to take care of that.
That's what they do.
I mean, our thing is this. We work smarter, not harder. So we keep everything in-house.
Yeah.
They want the promotions, PBC. I mean, we all one family, so we're not going to go nowhere. Maybe another company brings.
And that was Money Mayweather off, camera. That's why you couldn't hear him as well, as he was talking about it's up PBC and the rest of them, the fight team, to figure out exactly what would be a best role for Tank Davis moving ahead. But he has a lot of options, man, regardless of which direction you want to move in. But Too Mean, let's get your thoughts on the fight as Tank Davis dispatched Barrios in 11 rounds to have just fantastic fight. Big night for Tank Davis, and of course his prospects moving ahead.
Oh yeah, he definitely was making the adjustments to his height and his reach and stuff like that. Once he out, he just started breaking him down, man. And he started putting his hands on him. Like every time he punched him, he was just breaking him down slowly but surely. Until them later rounds come, the second half of the fight, he just couldn't take it no damn more. He just, you know what I'm saying? He was getting touched hard, man. And Barrios just, you know what I'm saying? He just eventually collapsed like a big ass tree. He was chopping it. The next thing you know, timber, and he was out of there.
Timber indeed. To me, he had the size advantage, man. But when it come down to heart, it's tough to measure that. But Tank Davis had more heart than what Barrios was ever able to do in that fight. Dispatched him, got him out of there. Now let's talk about the direction. Where does Tank Davis go moving ahead? We know we heard the stuff about Ryan Garcia. I'm not really really excited about anything doing with Ryan Garcia. He's not really doing a damn thing but running his mouth. He's not having any fights. And there's other directions as well. What do you think?
I don't think he really want Tank. I think he just chasing his you know what I'm saying, chasing his momentum to try to I guess try to enhance his, because I know Floyd offered him $100,000 cash if he was to go through Roley, and then he'll get Tank Davis, and he refused it. So he really don't want that fight. Who the hell will pass up $100,000 cash if you can take out somebody that's supposed to be less of an opponent than Tank? And you want Tank, you think you can beat Tank, and you won't take that $100,000, you guarantee a fight with Tank after that? I think he just clout chasing, man. You know what I'm saying? Without putting in that real work to get it. That's why I think about Ryan Garcia right now. So
Yeah, Garcia, like I said, I think he's an intriguing young fighter with a lot of speed, but I don't think he's been thoroughly tested. I know the last fight was probably the biggest fight he's ever had, but that's a great leap to a guy like Tank Davis, and he carries a large presence in terms of social media. But that social media, they can't help you fight nobody. I mean, he has to be able to step his game up and stop all this goddamn talking. It's something I just can't stand when he talks so much. I mean, it's the fight game. It's easy to figure out. You don't like the guy, sign the deal, get in the ring, knock the guy the hell out. Stop all the freaking talking.
yeah, he you know what I'm saying. I respect that he got up off the canvas and knocked the dude out. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot of heart to get up from getting hit like how he got hit, but like I said, he still got more to prove, man. You know what I'm saying? You can't prove it talking outside the ring. You got to do your, you know what I'm saying? You got to make your fist do the talking for you inside the ring. So, you know what I'm saying? That's what he need to stop the talking and get to fighting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the part. Like we heard Mayweather step in and started talking about the prospects of what's next. But whether he, like the article is saying that with the victory, they're saying that he plans on moving back down to 130 and 135, depending on what fights are available to him. Many boxing people would like to think that Tank would take on or stay at 140 long enough to challenge the undisputed champion down there, which is Josh Taylor, for his 4 belts. So that, in my opinion, if we're chasing titles and we're thinking about fights that make the most sense, would it make sense to fight Josh Taylor? That seems like a feasible at 140. What do you think about that, to me?
Yeah, I think that it might go that route though, because he has a whole country backing him, Josh Taylor. You know what I'm saying? And they big boxing fans where he from. So that's and then that, you know what I'm saying, that will add to his legacy too, to be undisputed at 140. You know what I'm saying? And plus make a big bank too. I think that would be the smarter route, I think. I think they might just go that route.
Let me ask the fight family members, please put in the live chat, or if you're listening to this on replay, when it hits the replay, put in the comment section on who you think would be the next serious fight for Tank Davis. Which makes most sense to you? Does he fight Josh Taylor is it another fight that intrigues you? A lot of people might say Ryan Garcia just to shut Ryan Garcia up, but it's got to make sense in terms of belts and champions is what I'm thinking. What Gervonta Tank Davis is looking at legacy, in my opinion. So would say of the fight family members, put in the comment section what you think your thoughts of or who Tank should fight next. All right, let's move on to me. We got another article here that we're going to bring up on screen momentarily, and that was dealing with obviously the fact that we're dealing with Canelo Alvarez. He's the next guy that we're going to talk about, and of course we know Canelo Alvarez. We hadn't been too happy about how Canelo, the fights that he's been doing and the things that who he's been fighting. I know I haven't really been impressed with a lot of his stuff, but to be honest with you, he's coming up. And this is what they're saying about Canelo Alvarez, that he wants Jamal Charlo, not Triple G. To me, and this is coming from Boxing 24/7. And they're saying, they covered the article that Triple G is not on Canelo Alvarez's wish list for a future fight, and he shouldn't be. The Mexicano superstar Canelo was asked this week by DAZN on who he preferred to fight between Golovkin and Charlo, and he said Charlo. This means that the IBF middleweight champion Golovkin needs to forget about Canelo, who's 56-1-2 with 38 knockouts, and start focusing on facing the best opposition possible. Now, Golovkin may have unwittingly hurt his chances of getting a third fight with Canelo by backing away from taking an elite level opposition. But if Triple G had continued to take risks with his career, his popularity would be higher than it is now, and Canelo would be motivated to fight him again. Everybody and his mama know that Triple G, to me, is chasing Canelo Alvarez because he wants the fight money. We know that he's at the back end of his career. He does not want to fight any stiff competition to hold his legacy. He's only looking to tap out or get paydays before he leaves the sport. We know he's on the tail end of his career. But the way it is now, Golovkin is the forgotten man in the eyes of many boxing fans because he stopped fighting the best, because he playing it safe. And we know that. Now, Golovkin could have fought Demetrius Andrade. He could have fought a series of people, Islam Delagro, Jaime Mugaya, which would be another respectable. Any one of these guys, David Benavidez is one of my favorites. A lot of these guys would have been good fights for Golovkin. But he skirts away from these guys and chases Canelo Alvarez with an opportunity for a last-ditch payday. But you heard the conversation is saying that Canelo is saying that he wants Charlo. So what say you? This is pretty good by Canelo saying that he wants Charlo. This is good in my eyes because that means it'll be a good fight. What do you think about Canelo Alvarez going up against Jamal Charlo?
Yeah, I definitely want to see that fight. You know what I'm saying? Because I think Charlo deserve it. You know what I'm saying? To prove, you know what I'm saying, to prove that he's worthy. You know what I'm saying? That, you know what I'm saying, that he's a true champion and he's the best. You know what I'm saying? But take it on the, you know what I'm saying, the best in the division. They say is Canelo. And you know what I'm saying? If he beat that, then he'll be the face of boxing and shit. So I think he earned that shot. So I think yeah, I would like to see that because, like you said, Triple G. I don't know what that GGG stand for. Get the going. Whatever the fuck this shit is. He ain't trying to do nothing. He's just trying to get a payday. That shit. Great white hype. That's what the hell he turned out to be.
Yeah, I'm not happy how Triple G's been handling either, man. I think Triple G's been running. He's been basically running from people this entire time since the Canelo Alvarez fight, and it's not a secret. The reason why he's not fighting Demetrius Andrade and the rest of these guys is because he wants soft fights. He want to hold on to that championship belt as an enticement to get Canelo Alvarez to fight him again. But the reality at the end of the day is that's not going to happen. Why would he go and fight Triple G again? That is over with. The best thing Triple G could have done was fight these guys like Andrade and Jaime Mugaya and the rest of these guys, Benavidez. Any one of those fights would be a good fight. But these are young, hungry lions, and Triple G ass don't want no part of that. He wants a payday on the back end of his career. And if that's the case, say so. But sooner or later, he'll get found out when you fighting soft touches like some of the guys that we've been seeing. But I know you're not a fan of Triple G. But I like Alvarez a lot more than I like Triple G. And I also respect the fact that competitively, he's a competitive fighter, which means that he wants to take on young, hungry lions, and hopefully he's not running from them. And how does that fight work out? I mean, if we put Jamal Charlo and Canelo Alvarez in the ring together, how does that fight end? Who wins? Because Canelo he could take some punishment, and he has dynamite in both fists. And Charlo's talented, but can he withstand the power of Alvarez? That's a big question. What say you?
Yeah, I think that's like a 50-50 fight. I think, you know what I'm saying, Canelo will definitely bring out the best in Charlo that we never even seen yet. Like bring a whole nother Charlo out that we ain't get a chance to see yet because, you know what I'm saying, the people he been fighting ain't really bring that dog out of him yet.
Right.
But I think definitely Canelo would bring it out, and I think, you know what I'm saying, it'll be like a 50-50 fight. But, you know what I'm saying, Charlo, he got that tremendous jab, and that shit can change the whole fight up. He can win a lot of rounds with just that jab alone. You know what I'm saying, and keep him at bay. His jab is just that powerful. He can do something like that with a Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, that old shotgun jab he has, man. That's pretty difficult, and that's a lot for Charlo, who can take punishment. But that would be a good test for Jamal to take on Canelo Alvarez, who's considered as one of the top in the boxing game, and for Canelo to take on guys like Charlo and Undrade and the rest of these guys would definitely change my opinion of him, as opposed to him fighting these other guys that's donating their belts to him, these sorry ass bastards like that big fighter that basically leaned up against the ropes and allowed Canelo Alvarez to tee off on him. I mean, these are be better because a lot of the Mexican fans too are getting sour to what Canelo Alvarez and his team is doing and the fighters that they've been fighting as of late. Now, the last fight wasn't all that bad, but the previous fights were just disrespectful to anybody who want to see a good fight, a serious fight, go back and forth. But I do like the Charlo thing. Whoever it is, it should be a Charlo or Andrade or guys like that. It has to be. It has to be some guys like that moving forward. So let's bounce and move to me. We're gonna go on to the next topic. We're gonna talk about a Manny Pacman Pacquiao. That's right, the Pacman. Of course, we're hearing news that the Pacman is being sued by his former promotion team about whether or not, being that they stiffen him and the Pac-Man stiffen him and keep kicking him out of other fights, of negotiating a fight between him and Errol Spence. That a lot of people believe that wouldn't be something that stops the fight between him and Errol Spence from occurring. But according to what, that information, Pac-Man's people saying that's not going to stop the fight. But the big news is the WBA is to vote on whether they should voting on reinstating Pacquiao as the 147-pound champion just in time for the Errol Spence bout, which would be in unification, which would be 3 of the 4 belts in the welters that'll be up the par in this fight. So let's talk about that. Should they give the WBA title back to Pacquiao, in your opinion, in this fight? Because he really didn't lose it in the ring. They pulled it away from him because he didn't fight for 2 years, and they put him as a champion in recess, which means once he comes out of recess, he should gain his belt. Should that be the procedure moving forward?
I mean, that's what it's going to be. That's the politics of boxing, man. They definitely going to give him that belt back. You know what I'm saying? He didn't lose in the ring, which is true. So that's how they're going to do it. And it's a big fight, too. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And him having the belt is going to make it even bigger, and more money. So it's definitely going to go down like that, man.
Yeah, I have to agree. And you see, we got some of the article right here from 24/7 on the screen talking about it. According to Mike Coppinger, the WBA will be putting it to a vote whether to reinstate the 42-year-old Pacquiao as the welterweight champion. Pacquiao is the WBA champion in recess right now. Having the WBA title online for the Pacquiao versus Spence fight will increase the chances of seeing an undisputed champion soon for the 147-pound division, which I'm very excited about. I've always said that the last time we've seen a unified welterweight champion was 20-something years ago when Corey Spinks did it, and then Zab Judah took it right from him. And then what was it? Money Mayweather took it from him, and then Money jumped somewhere else. So it's been a while, and then we've seen it at the welters, and then I'm really feeling like once we see this fight, and my thought process is that Errol beats Pacquiao to get 3 belts, then that puts Errol in direct competition with Bud Crawford. And if that occurs, then we might see several fights between these two. We could see a trilogy matchup between two of the best at the welterweight class, and we could see fighters that hold the welterweight title for some times. To me, that could be a very difficult title to hold with Virgil Ortiz Jr. and several other young and enterprising fighters in the welters, that second tier group of people coming up. Welters are a very difficult class to unify. What do you think about the prospects of that occurring?
Oh yeah, Jerron Enos, he gonna be a problem, man.
That's right, Enos too.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, you know what I'm saying? That dude right there, man. He ain't no man. He, like I said, he definitely gonna be a problem. So I think, tell you the truth, I think it's starting to get too hard for Earl Spence to make the 147 pounds. I think he's looking to move up probably after that Pacquiao fight. Even though he said he wants Bud Crawford, but I mean, they, I don't understand why they haven't fought yet. So I don't know. I think he moves up after the Pacquiao fight, and if Crawford wants to fight him, he probably got to move up to 154. You know, they saying that he's saying he wants Crawford after Pacquiao, but we'll see.
I mean, but that makes all the sense in the world, because if Spence wants unification to be the undisputed unified champion of the welterweight division, then his plan originally is working out the way he intended to. I think the WBA would definitely reinstate Manny Pacman Pacquiao as a champion just in time for the Pacquiao and Spence bout. And once that occurs, I think Spence does beat Pacquiao to take 3 belts, and he'll be 3 belts. And then the plan, according to Arrow and PBC, was then to move on for a unified bout with Terrence Bud Crawford, which is interesting to me because Bud Crawford, his contract is done with Bob Arum after the final fight, the next fight, which is rumored to be somewhere in November between Pacman and the we'll cover that. We'll see if we can pull it up, but that was supposed to be something that Crawford was supposed to be fighting in November sometime, and it's the last deal on his deal with Bob Arum. So that's big within itself. That could mean unification with Bob Aram's sorry ass out of the way. And that's my thing. But I definitely think Errol Spence is going to continue on with that plan to get that unified, and that will be one of the biggest fights and I think it has the potential to be a multi-fight situation with Bud Crawford and Errol Spence.
Yeah, I hope it goes down like that. To tell you the truth, I definitely want to see them two fight. You know what I'm saying? I like I said, I can't pick a winner. That's a 50-50 fight all across the board. I don't know who will win that fight, but I definitely want to see it, man. Yeah, I definitely want to see that one. I hope it goes down like that, man, for real, man.
Well, I agree with you that we need to see that. Now Jose Zapata is who Terrence Crawford is supposed to be rumored to be fighting. Eddie, that was the rumor, is that he's supposed to be going against Jose Zapata next. So we'll see that, and that'll be the final deal on the top ranked deal with him in that sorry ass Bob Arum. So hopefully, about time Pacquiao and Spence is over with, Crawford's over with, we can have new management that Crawford's under, and maybe it's PBC, maybe it's somebody else that's a little bit more agreeable, as opposed to what Arum is doing. He has a obvious dispute with what's going on with El Heyman in the PBC champions. We know El Heyman and Bob Arum have disputes, and we know that it's difficult for Top Rank at PBC to make fights together. Obviously, we've seen Crawford, and even if it's not Crawford that he could have fought, we had problems with him getting fights against guys like Thurman, who's not fighting anybody. Who the hell is Keith Thurman fighting right now? How about Porter? How about Sean Porter? These are all fights that Crawford would look good with, but these are PBC guys. Jose Zapata is in the picture now. It's just sad, man. But anyway, about time Spence and Crawford get ready to fight. He'll be under new management hopefully, and we'll get the fight that we want to see. Well, no doubt about it, we'll get the fight we want to see because there is no way else for for Spence to go except for Crawford if he wants unification of the welterweights.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, my brother. So we're gonna move on to our next topic, which is we're gonna talk about Mikey Garcia now. Mikey Garcia family is getting ready for another up and coming matchup here as well. And the funny thing about it is, to me, Regis Prograis. And you know, Regis is a homeboy. We from the New Orleans area, and Regis is from the New Orleans area. So he's marching it down. He's getting ready to get a really good fight, and I'm really excited about this upcoming matchup between Regis Prograis and Mikey Garcia. To me, what are your thoughts on that, man?
Oh man, I definitely want to see this one, man. I think it's a 50-50 fight too. But Regis got that power, man. Well, Errol Spence had that power. He couldn't take Mikey out, but Mikey definitely got that skill and power too. But that'll be an interesting fight. I would definitely want to see this one. Yeah.
Who you think win in this one? To me, you know, Mikey Garcia is slick and smart and smooth. Regis is as well, comes with that power, and this will kind of give Mikey some relevance again. He fighting Regis. If he can get the win at 140, this would be a good win for Mikey Garcia. And as far as Regis Prograis, both good wins as Regis continues to climb at 140. You know, like I said, this will be a good fight here. And let's get into it by Coppinger dropping it. He says there are two advanced talks confirmed by the promoter Eddie Hearn and the potential 140-pound clash that will take place in the fall on the zone. Now, of course, Mikey's 33 years of age. He's 40-1 with 30 knockouts, has fought 3 times at 140 in his career. The first was a comeback tune-up after 2.5 years out of the ring, beating Elio Rojas in 2016. He also beat Adrian Broner in the money fight in 2017 and followed that up by taking the IBF belt from Sergey Lipnitz in 2018. In his last 3 fights, Garcia went back down to 135 to unify 2 belts by beating Robert Easter Jr., who's Robert Easter Jr., boy, he's such a, I ain't going to get into it, but then jumped to 147 for an uninspired loss to Errol Spence. And, well, he overstepped himself in that one. Then he got the win over Jesse Vargas. And, of course, Prograis, who's 26-1 with 22 knockouts, one of the sport's most entertaining top fighters in and out of the ring. And he's one of the great modern characters in the game, someone who really spices things up. And, of course, he does. He comes from New Orleans, baby. He's a unique dude for boxing. The 32-year-old southpaw was last in action on April the 17th, beating goofy Ivan Reddock and a weird-ass 6-round TKO. And, of course, he sees big things happen. This could bring some more relevance to Regis, who I really like to see Regis gets more fights at the 140, a lot more, popular fights, bigger fights for him as he wants to chase and get back up to championship status. Mikey Garcia's Regis Prograis working to get that deal done on the zone to me.
Yeah, I hope it gets made, man. Because I definitely want to see that. Regis is a tough dude. I like Regis, man. You know what I'm saying? His personality and everything, man. He seems like he's a cool dude, man. But coolness ain't gonna win no fights, though. but I know one thing: that toughness he got and that determination he got. You know what I'm saying? That New Orleans type shit he got in him, man. That's gonna win them fights.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough fight for him. Like I said, Mikey Garcia is a slick fighter, man. And that one outing, a lot of people still riding on the fact that he was totally outclassed by Errol Spence Jr. in Texas, man. That was a really tough fight for him to do. And that was the best fight that I ever seen Errol Spence put on. He put on a boxing clinic against Mikey Garcia. And it was a huge win for him. But Mikey Garcia, as a lot of people said, that could he handle fighting at 140? If he can defeat Regis Prograis, that will definitely quiet a lot of the criticism from his detractors. But Regis Prograis is not going to be an easy foe, and he has championship aspirations, and we're going to see how it all ends. To me, we're going to move on to the next topic. We're going to move on to the final one, which, of course, Riddick Bowe. Talking about Riddick Bowe, my friend, possibly coming back and fighting in October. Once again, Riddick Bowe coming back into the fight game. To mean, at 53 years of age, how about that? for the former heavyweight champion. His name is being turned out in many different circles and growing a list of aged former champions who want to come back in some form of another. TMZ Sports reports that he signed a deal with Celebrity Boxing and he set up the fight in Miami on October the 23rd. So far, there's no opponent name, nor is there any news on such as the length of the fight, headgear or no headgear, size of gloves, etc. But Bo himself has announced his upcoming ring return via his Instagram. The former heavyweight king said the following. He says, "Hi, I'm Riddick Bowe, two-time world heavyweight champion. I'm just signed a contract with Celebrity Boxing. Listen, y'all, I'm ready to go. Who you think I should fight? Maybe Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Shaq Daddy, or maybe Jojo Mama. Let me know who you want me to fight. Let's get the deal done." Anyway, to me, Riddick Bowe, man, that famous sense of humor. He's 53 years of age, man. What do you think about Riddick Bowe back in celebrity boxing? Who would you like to see him fight?
That would be a good if he could get
Lennox Lewis?
that would be that's gonna draw the money and shit that he needs. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, we never got a chance to really see that fight. So that would be an awesome fight right there for him. I would like to see him go up against Lennox Lewis. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? Like him coming back like that doing the celebrity type boxing thing. You know what I'm saying? That could be like his social security and shit after retirement. You know what I'm saying? From fighting and shit. Which, you know what I'm saying? I think the boxers should have that. Because a lot of them, you know what I'm saying, they don't be managing their money right. And when their career's over, they wind up not having no money and struggling and stuff, man. So I was like, why not have something like this for him to come back, you know what I'm saying, doing something you love and make some money, man. You know what I'm saying? This time about learn from a mistake and invest that money so you won't, you know what I'm saying, be struggling financially no more. But yeah, him and Riddick Bowe and Lennox Lewis, that needs to be made, man. Because that shit's gonna sell out. And like I say, we wanted to see it back in the day, but it didn't happen. So I'm thinking people probably still want to see it right now.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. That was a fight that I always wanted to see them go out. Well, you seen them fight in the amateurs. What was it, the Olympics? In the Olympics, and Lennox Lewis got the best of them in the Olympics. They were supposed to fight several times during their professional careers, but it never panned out. I think that was the time that he was supposed to. When Lennox was a mandatory for the belt that Riddick both threw in the silver trash can during the press conference when he couldn't negotiate the fight, and he vacated the belt by dropping it in the trash can, one of his most iconic moments of his professional boxing career. That mandatory for that belt was Lennox Lewis. Am I correct on that, to me?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yep.
So if he had not vacated that belt, the mandatory to been Lennox Lewis, we'd have seen that fight with both of those guys right then and there. And a lot of people believe that Lennox Lewis would have beat Riddick Bowe at that stage of their careers. What do you think about that?
I don't think I don't know.
What about Lou Duva? Wasn't Lou Duva Bowe's trainer?
No, Lou Duva was never Bowe's trainer.
Who was Bowe's trainer?
Eddie Flutch.
Flutch. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think like people think that Lewis would have really beat Riddick Bowe up. I don't think it would have been like that. I think they would have been a tough fight. You know what I'm saying? It could have went in either way. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he just ran through Bowe like that. I don't think so. You know what I'm saying?
I remember Lou Duva saying in various interviews about the potential between Lennox Lewis and Riddick Bowe fighting, that at this stage, Riddick was not as talented or not as a complete fighter as Lennox Lewis was, and that Lennox would have beaten him. But that's the great Lou Duva's personal opinion about the matchup, regardless of whatever occurred. I remember during the fight when Riddick Bowe had, Lennox was commentating the fight, and they got face to face. But that's the most that we ever seen of a potential fight. And of course, Lennox Lewis lamented the fact that he never fought Riddick Bowe, that they never got the fight on. He constantly talks about that. Maybe even into both of those guys are retired, maybe we can get a celebrity rendition of these two fighters. Now, to me, that would probably be the best matchup, seeing a Lennox Lewis against Riddick Bowe or perhaps a Riddick Bowe Mike Tyson fight later on. So I mean, Bo and Holyfield, I really don't want to see that again. We've seen enough of that. Go ahead to me.
But Lennox Lewis and Riddick Bowe don't like each other.
Right.
So if they do a celebrity exhibition bout, that shit gonna turn into a real fight.
Right. It will.
It's definitely gonna. You know what I'm saying? Because Bowe do not like Lennox Lewis, man. And I don't think Lennox Lewis like Bowe. So that shit gonna turn into something, man. That's gonna turn into some real shit there, boy.
All right. Well, listen, that'll do it for Ring Kings Boxing, this episode of Ring Kings Boxing, man. I'd like to thank y'all for tuning in this episode. We covered a lot on the show, man, on this version. Please feel free to hit upon the like button. Please feel free to subscribe and share the show on your social media platforms as well as help us grow Ring Kings Boxing World as one of the top boxing platforms on YouTube. So we'll be back on another episode and we'll cover some more fight news. We got a lot of interesting fights coming up as well. A lot of great fights coming up. July the 17th, Jermell Charlo versus Brian Castano. That's for 12 rounds for the undisputed junior middleweight title, the junior middleweight title, which will, Charlo and Castano. Man, that's for all the belts there, baby, for all the belts in the world. And of course, July the 24th, you got Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, number 3, 12 rounds. For the WBC heavyweight strap as well. So we got a few other, and then August the 21st, baby. Really good one. There's Errol Spence and Manny Pacman Pacquiao for the WBC and IBF welterweight titles. And of course, the WBA title that ultimately I believe the WBA will reinstate in the hands of Manny Pacquiao simply because he did not lose it in the ring. So be looking forward for that decision coming up in this next week or the following week before the fight occurs. So to me, thank you as well for great boxing knowledge as well, my friend. And for the rest of you guys, appreciate you for joining in for Ring Kings Boxing as well. And we'll see you later. Peace.
Peace.
Perfect.
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, and even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who Dat and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who Dat in all of us.